We have made it to week one, guys. How are you? I hope you're great this Labor Day weekend. I'm Gun. Twitter.com/Gundacker Sports. NFL's back. And so we're back, shaking up the channel with content. We've been without some new, fresh content, regular content right here on this channel for a while. So just a reminder, YouTube tends to move inactive channels kind of like down on your list and maybe don't show you new videos because the channel's been inactive. So if you guys see this, help me out. Hit that thumbs up. Shake and bake the whole YouTube channel. Share the videos with your friends if you like what you see, and I would certainly appreciate that. Hey, leave a comment or two. I definitely want you guys on all the videos that we put out today, this week. Leave comments with questions, comments, concerns, questions that you guys might have for me throughout the week at any particular position. If we have enough questions throughout the week to put together a little mailbag, I could drop a video on Friday answering hopefully all those questions. I'll be glad to do that. Comments, if you've got some sneaky plays or some guys that you're really on that I didn't mention in the video that you just want to get out there or talk with other YouTubers, throw that below. And then any questions you might have, whether it be pertaining to the channel or VIP or anything like that. So literally, questions, comments, concerns, please leave them below. I'm gonna be putting out a series of videos today, highlighting and focusing on 3 of my favorite plays at each position on Draftkings. This doesn't necessarily mean by Sunday morning these guys are going to be all over my lineups or be my highest owned or anything like that. I'm looking for 3 guys at each position that aren't the most expensive, right? I'm not gonna talk about Patrick Mahomes here because you know what Patrick Mahomes can do, right? We're gonna be looking a little bit more mid-tier, and of course, as I do, I'll explain a couple of the key reasons why I'm interested, and I have a high focus on points per dollar and achieving value at their price point. So I sure hope you guys enjoy these videos. I do want to plug RunDFS.com. This is my baby. Sure, we'll have the YouTube, a ton of content. You can interact with me on Twitter. But if you get the inclination, the urge to support me above and beyond and get a little something in return, we have the premium access at RunDFS.com. If you guys jump over there, or if you haven't already registered, then go to VIP Pass. There's going to be several options for you guys to go above and beyond. We got the week pass, the 2-week pass, the month pass. I believe it's $25, $40, and $70 for now. And those prices go up during NBA. You know the deal. So if you guys want to just lock in until Super Bowl Sunday, you can do that too. This is the last week you can take advantage of that. After week 1 locks, bam, we're in there, and we're hitting the ground running. So if you want to take advantage of that, that'll be $400. And what that comes with is full access to my VIP spreadsheets. Right now we got them for NFL and baseball, and of course they'll be up for NBA in October. This will cover every sport that I do, and full access to the RunDFS.com VIP Discord, which hosts literally daily voice chats. Right now I host pre-locked voice chats for baseball, and then of course every Saturday night during the NFL season we'll have a candle burn voice chat discussing the slate, strategy, plays, contest selection, all kinds of stuff. So if you guys want to be part of that this Saturday, you ain't even got to have a mic and be part of it. You can just listen in if you want to and type in a chat. I don't mind that at all. And then, of course, in the spreadsheet, I will actually share my favorite picks and plays. I will tier them. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Last season had just 3 bad weeks out of 17. I will take that each and every time. And then, of course, I will have game notes on each game. I've already kind of written a few that I haven't. I've taken a look at. And, of course, I'll revise these as the days go on. So you definitely get a little something in return for supporting the channel, for supporting RunDFS.com. And I sure hope you guys are, I want to know you guys and talk some more DFS with you full-time around the clock. Let's talk some quarterbacks. So today, or in this video, I'm going to talk about three guys that I'm really, really keeping an eye on going into this weekend's Sunday-only slate for DraftKings, FanDuel, for Yahoo, wherever I'm going to play. But these are most specifically in regards to their DraftKings pricing in their matchups. DraftKings published their pricing, I believe, on July 28th. So you have literally over a month between when they release pricing to week one kickoff time, which was a lot of air and opportunity for things to go wrong, for players to get injured, players to get traded, players to get bumped in the depth chart, players to retire. For instance, Andrew Luck retired. AJ Green had surgery the day after pricing came out. We've got Ezekiel Elliott still in holdout. Melvin Gordon, the Chargers announced that they're not even going to talk contract with him. It's either trade him or he's not playing. So a lot of stuff that has happened to create some exploits in pricing. You're going to hear a lot about some of the super cheap value guys this week from all the different media publications for fantasy content. So it's just wild, and this is the only week of the season where we really have this much drastic and vigorous up and downs in terms of pricing and opportunity. So we'll definitely keep that in mind. And then in general, we just have some guys that are mispriced anyway. So I do think in terms of making lineups, I think this week will be the easiest to fit what you want, where you want, because there's going to be so many opportunities, so many next man ups, and just some great value out there. So we'll keep that in mind. I'm going to try and stay away from the super duper obvious. Like I said, I'm not going to come out and talk about Saquon or Christian McCaffrey, Mahomes, guys like that. I think you guys are smart enough to know that those guys could pop off. I'm going to kind of focus on more of the mid-range guys that I like. And we'll start off this video with Baker Mayfield at home hosting the Tennessee Titans. This game has a total of... Where are we at? Cleveland at home. Now, I've noticed this site's not in sequential order or by time. Where's my bear? There it is. 45 total. The Browns right now anywhere from a -5 to -5.5. It is Monday. Make sure to kind of keep an eye on where your lines are, where your spreads are today versus where they're going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's when we start seeing a lot of shifting, a lot of sharp action, a lot of maybe late week practice news, moving lineups. But right now, Cleveland has a chance to maybe push towards a touchdown favorite, 6-point favorite at home on Sunday. So the main reason I like Baker Mayfield is because this Browns offense kind of reminds me of maybe the Patriots from the last couple of years in the sense that they are so spread out that it's super hard to actually rely on one guy to win you a tournament, right? You think about the Patriots in years past, maybe they had Julian Edelman or Chris Hogan or James White, a lot of different running backs, Rob Gronkowski. Brady could throw 4 touchdowns and it'd be to one different receiver each. I feel like Baker Mayfield's in a similar spot here. So the Browns are going to be a team that I always play with stack-wise in tournaments, but there's going to be super volatile, right? 1 week Mayfield to Odell could hit for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Another week, maybe Jarvis Landry gets a couple touchdowns. Nick Chubb gets some. David Njoku. So I think the safest way to approach this game is to maybe play Mayfield by himself in maybe like a small entry tournament. I of course, I love correlation stacks with quarterback and a pass catcher, but I do think I can make a case to run Mayfield by himself here, or at least feel like he's the safest guy. Now, let's talk about Mayfield versus Nick Chubb. Now, I'm not going to be the guy that over-relies on 2018 season stats, but the Titans aren't a team that changed drastically. And against the run, they allowed just 7 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns to opposing running backs, and 0 receiving touchdowns, which essentially they allowed the fewest touchdowns to opposing running backs. You think about this Browns running attack, Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb's going to be pretty popular this week. You kind of taking that touchdown process, that thought there in mind. Maybe Mayfield over Chubb is the play. Maybe if they score here, it's in the air. And I think, Mayfield to Odell, Mayfield to Njoku, to Landry. There's so many options here. Maybe even throws one to Chubb. But I do think at this price, Baker Mayfield really, really intrigues me for a 20-plus, maybe a 25-point game. 27-24 in his last 2 regular season games. We saw him kind of really get comfortable last season. Freddie Kitchens taking over full time, and Baker Mayfield into a sophomore season. It's going to be pretty dangerous in what should be a pretty aggressive offense. And I like their defense to maybe keep them in a couple opportunities for Mayfield to get the ball at his half of the field. Marcus Mariota, if you pull up his game log from last year, he didn't play the full season, but in the games he did play, he fumbled, I believe, 7-8 times, threw a bunch of picks. So he's not immune to turning the ball over. Had 8 interceptions, and we saw plenty of fumbles. So if that Browns defense, adding guys like Olivier Vernon, which was already a stout defense, they force a turnover or 2, get Mayfield in plus field position. Definitely liking Baker Mayfield to be a pretty solid play overall. Like, I really don't feel like there's a ton of downside there unless things just go haywire and Nick Chubb runs all over the Titans here. The next quarterback I'm going to talk about, and the theme of the next 2 quarterbacks, is going to be running potential. Josh Allen, 5,600 from the Buffalo Bills here. Last season, Josh Allen was absolutely crushing it when they basically gave him the keys back to the car of the Bills. From week 12 on, fantasy point production, 26.3 DKP against the Jags, 33.74, 24.34, 19, 13, and 41. And a lot of it had to do with his wheels, man. There's a couple games where he rushed for over 100 yards, 95 yards in his season finale. And he's got really some weapons to work with. I'll talk about a receiver combo I really like here. But 5,600 for Josh Allen, I mean, this is a guy that probably gives you a built-in floor of no less than 5 just based on rushing. You could argue maybe 6-7 based on rushing, but I'll be safe and say 5 here. And then he's going against a Jets team that this game, I feel like it could be a sneaky, young showcase. I don't want to say shootout because I don't think it shoots all the way out, but I do like both offenses in the quarterback sophomore season, second seasons to really run the offense to have a chance to put up some points here. And I think Josh Allen, on top of his rushing potential, has an extremely desirable matchup in let me pull up what I wrote here in my game notes here. Josh Allen. Talk about his new weapon. Oh, I put it on the wrong one. Here we go. John Brown. Check out this stat. Josh Allen has 20-plus air yards on 18.1% of his throws last season. Patrick Mahomes was second at 15.2%. John Brown saw 16.3 average air yards last season and 33.83% of the Ravens' total air yards. Only Devontae Adams had a higher percentage of a team's air yards last season. Essentially, I dubbed it a poor man's Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill here. Both quarterbacks mobile, and both quarterbacks have the ability to bomb it. And this is a much, much cheaper quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. So I'm really digging some Josh Allen here, and I will have a fair share of Josh Allen and handcuffing him to John Brown for tournaments, because I think that's a super cheap handcuff. John Brown, 4,300. You put them together, you're gonna have some salary to do some fun stuff in your lineups for sure. Let's move on to my final quarterback for this video. Keep it in the theme of rushing quarterbacks here. Lamar Jackson. Man, if Josh Allen was running the ball 8, 7, 9 times a game, Lamar Jackson is running the ball a minimum 10 times a game. Every start last season in the regular season, double-digit rushing attempts. Look at it, 20, 13, 18. That's absolutely glorious for a fantasy floor. Sure, he wasn't throwing it at a high amount, just 14, 14, 12, 14. But I definitely think in his sophomore season, this season, they're going to want to throw the ball a little bit more. With that said, if he just threw the ball 15 to 20 times, which is reasonable because the Baltimore Ravens are a minus 4.5 to 7-point favorite, depending on where you bet, depending on where it opened. They're sizable road favorite here. I think I like Lamar Jackson even more, simply because it's kind of a homecoming game. He's a Florida boy. But if we go to last year's defense versus position in the RunDFS.com VIP spreadsheet and go to rushing yards allowed to opposing quarterbacks. Check this out. The Dolphins allowed the third most rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks last season. And they're in tanks. They're in full-on tank mode right now. Dolphins trading away Laramie Tunzel, Kenny Stills in the past couple in the last week. I just think this is a super elite spot for Lamar Jackson. One thing I am worried about here is the game maybe getting out of control and the Ravens playing with a pretty sizable lead, run the ball, and I'll talk about a running back I like from the Ravens in the running back focus video. But I still think there's enough room for floor and upside at this price point, $6K, where if I'm looking for 3X, 18 points, I definitely think that's in the cards here. And then could we get 25 plus? Could we get a 30 bomb here? 2 rushing touchdowns? I think it's in the cards here. I think the Dolphins are a beaten, bruised, battered team. And then last, I'm going to give you a bonus name here just because I'm a man who plays DFS with a lot of game theory, and I like to consider a lot of range of outcomes. And I like to consider guys or talk about guys that could just simply pay off their price tag, right? We're going to play some guys this season in many different sports that just aren't sexy names, but they're going to be at price points where they'll give us what we need so we can go out and get another guy who has a high ceiling. We'll play 3K, 4K guys for PPR that'll let us fit in the Julio Jones, the Antonio Browns, the Odell Beckhams, guys like that. And I certainly think this name is going to be uncomfortable to click in a lineup. But hey, Jacoby Brissett, 4,400 on Draftkings. Hear me out, man. I know this guy had a full season basically with the Colts a couple years ago. But let's talk about what that team was versus what this team is now. 3 weeks ago, there's a lot of people high in the Colts, man. A lot of people had the Colts as a sneaky top offense. Some people even brave enough, bold enough to project him to be in the Super Bowl. Andrew Luck retiring shut a lot of people up. I get it. But this is still a really good O-line, and he's still got decent weapons in Jack Doyle, T.Y. Hilton, Marlon Mack. This is still a team that has enough weapons that in some universe this weekend, right? $4,400 for the quarterback behind this team hits value, right? 18 points, that's not out of the question in my opinion. Maybe 2025 is pushing it, but man, 4,400 for a quarterback, where I love to pay down at quarterback more often than not, because the quarterback scoring is taxed a little bit more than elsewhere, right? Getting 4 points for a touchdown and 0.04 points per for throwing and whatnot. It's just a harder position to accrue high points. So I like to pay down and get my 20 bomb here, and I think Jacoby Brissett could even walk away with 15 fantasy points, and I wouldn't feel like it's the end of the world. He's not going to be part of the feature 3 here, but I do think I just have to mention him because I think there's a range of outcomes where this price kind of comes through here. Sure, you can make a case for the Chargers defense. I certainly have written about that game in my notes. But man, I just think that's a really low price here. You're not going to get an opportunity like that, or at least not often you'll get opportunities like that for the rest of the season to play a starting QB with with decent weapons around him at that price point. So I have to mention him, honorable mention here, and that'll conclude the quarterbacks I'm watching early on. This is Monday. Whole lot of air opportunity between now and Sunday. A lot of practices. A lot of things can happen to kind of shake the foundation of my lineup. So you guys can keep up to date with that with me on Twitter or right here on the channel. We'll probably try and do an update video on Friday again with the questions, comments, and concerns. So be sure to leave those in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up. And be sure to check out all the videos we're uploading today and this week because there's a lot of NFL content coming your way. A lot of money out there to go get. I'll see you in the next video. Love you guys. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.